told us we were done with our civil notes.
What do you mean?
The other day.
Did I say done with your civil notes?
Yeah, we got through that.
Yeah, we got to this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I misspoke. We're done with your negligence, but we have one last small spot for your civil. Did I say civil?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I lied to you. I lied to you multiple times yesterday, but just kidding. I know.
Never trust anyone.
I'm waiting for the lawsuits. I know, I'm sorry. Last little bit we're going to talk about is strict liability. Now, again, we kind of did this real fast when we first started this. Be careful, because strict liability is another one of those things that crosses over into criminal. There are criminal actions that are strict liability, but there are also civil. So what this means is, for civil, you're engaged in activity that's so dangerous, that's fraught with so much potential for someone to get hurt or even killed, that just because you're doing that means you're automatically liable. You have the responsibility to secure this area or place, whatever it is, as best you can. But if someone gets hurt, doesn't matter. Still your fault. You could put up all the restrictions you want. Doesn't matter. Someone gets hurt, it's on you. Now, I just use this example of, if you're imploding a building, it's so dangerous that you are assuming all risk. So let's kind of play it out. You're imploding a building. What protection should you put in place here? What's probably the first thing you want to do? What do you guess that?
You might want to put like a small fence around that.
A small fence?
A big fence.
Big fence. Chain link good enough for you? What about like 2 layers of fencing?
2 to 3. And then
3 layers of
And
fencing.
then like quarantine that entire block.
What about a moat?
Nah.
Do whatever you want, doesn't matter. Still liable. So if you're bringing down a building, anything that goes wrong, you can get sued for. No matter what you do. Small fence, multiple fences, moat, doesn't matter. Without any kind of proof that you did what you needed to do to secure this area, doesn't matter. Still liable. You are almost automatically guilty right away. So why would anyone do this? I think that's a pretty good response right there. I don't know. But buildings do have to come down. So you have to secure it as best you can. And you say, look, we're doing everything possible. But if something goes wrong, still liable. Now, like I said, bringing down a building has to happen. Sometimes buildings have to come down. I want to give you some other examples, though, that maybe we can kind of point to it and say, why on earth would you do that? That's just way too dangerous. Way too much liability. I'm going to give you a few examples, and actually, I learned something during quarantine. Tiger King is weird. Okay, did you guys see it? If you didn't, don't worry about it. I think I got dumber watching it. Tiger King was something, I had heard about it, and my wife was like, we got to do this. I'm like, we have to not do this. Like, for society. We need to not watch this. But as I was watching it, I got to thinking about this, actually, because one of the examples that we're going to talk about is actually owning dangerous animals. And when I was watching that stupid thing, I was like, wait, you can just like buy a tiger? I was like, I've got $300. I'll buy a tiger. I got all sorts of time on my hands here. I was like, what would I do with a tiger? And I'm like, okay, well, I got a backyard, and it has a fence around it. And if Joe Exotic can handle a tiger, I'm pretty confident that I can. Because that guy was like pushing tigers over. I'm like, don't do that. It's a horrible idea. Just having a dangerous animal makes you liable automatically. Having a dangerous animal just in your possession, whatever that animal does, you're responsible.
Like if it kills somebody by accident, then
You're responsible because you were dumb enough to have a tiger. And Joe Exotic had like 50 of them. I can't believe it. Yes, Amy.
How does that work for like animal, like nature reserves?
Oh, for nature reserves.
Yeah.
Probably most of them, and I say this, probably most of them are owned by the government. So it's plays by some different rules versus individuals.
Yeah.
There's some guarantees of not being liable. That's what I would say. Now, I'm not 100% certain, but that's what I would think. Now, same thing, I use the tiger example, but even owning a dangerous dog makes you liable. Dogs with a bite history make you liable. Now, I forget, did I tell you guys about my dog? I did? Okay. I had this dog, Woodrow. I didn't name him, someone else did. Woodrow had the sweetest face on the internet. My wife fell in love with Woodrow. We got him, and they had to ship him to us. We get Woodrow at the airport, and he looks straight at me, and he has like that viper head. I'm like, great, we just adopted a pit bull. I kid you not. They told us he was a lab. He was definitely not a lab. He is a pit bull. But Woodrow loved me and my wife more than anything, and he would die for us, to a point where anyone who got close to us, he would lunge at. I kid you not. Woodrow was a trained killer, and I welcomed him into my home. Woodrow one day bit my neighbor, this 85-year-old woman. So here's what, like, I have Woodrow on the leash, and he's looking at me. He's like, I love you so much. I'm like, I love you too, buddy. And then just danger. That 85-year-old woman poses a real serious threat. So we got her on the arm. And I remember watching it happen. I was like, we're going to the hospital first. She didn't have to get stitches, but she was real close. And I was talking to a friend of mine, an insurance agent, and he goes, okay, you do know now, if he bites anyone else, you're going to lose your house. Because you're liable for him. Woodrow almost bit like a couple other people. I kid, like this close. It was at that point where we said we have to put Woodrow down. Can't do it. It's very sad, yes. But sorry, Woodrow, I'm not losing my house over you. Love you, buddy, but you gotta go. A tiger? You have serious liability problems. There's no way you're getting out of that one.
There's no way you get one chance.
Yeah, no, I don't get it. Like, why would you ever own a tiger, especially if you're Joe Exotic? Second thing are called toxic torts. Now, I want to set this up in such a way because it's probably kind of odd to think about this. Companies that would produce very dangerous chemicals used to just drop them in rivers. Just say, that's how we dispose of this. The river will just take care of it. Now, that was done up until basically the 1970s. It's kind of hard to imagine now. But the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, says you can't do that. That's bad for everyone downstream. Not to mention if it gets into underground water aquifers, then it's dangerous for everyone in the immediate area. So if you're a company and you're dropping toxic waste into rivers or anywhere, you're liable. No matter what happens to however many people, you're automatically liable. It's on you. Now, companies can kind of fight this in certain ways and say, like, no, it wasn't us, there were some other things that happened. There's not a whole lot of defense to this. You put toxic chemicals into water or even on the ground, you're liable. Now, last we're going to talk about are defective products. Now, when I came up with this a few years ago, there was this great example, and I'm just keeping it. Maybe you guys remember this, maybe not. Do you remember, I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago, when there were phones that were just exploding?
Yeah,
I think it was Nokia, if I remember right. Samsung, yeah. So they had an issue with their batteries, when in like certain conditions, the batteries would just explode in people's pockets. It was real weird. It got weirder when someone was on an airplane and it exploded in their pocket. You got serious problems when that happens. So if you have a product that's injuring people, and if you have a product that's blowing up on an airplane, yeah, you're liable, without a doubt. And I think if I remember right, it was Nokia settled it for some weird amount of money. It was, I forget off the top of my head what it is, but it was like $900 million settlement. There's no way they're getting out of this one. Now, they can kind of blame the batteries and where it was made, what they used or whatever. But it comes down to Nokia, or excuse me, it comes down to Samsung. They're the ones that did it. Yes, sir.
So theoretically, if the company didn't know that their batteries would do that, then, but like, as soon as they found out, like, the first or second case of that, then immediately recalled them, could they have escaped that liability, or?
Recall gives you some protection, but not a whole lot.
It's the Galaxy Note 7.
Galaxy Note 7. Okay, so write that down. Don't buy that because it might blow up in your pocket. Now, here's the deal. When I see you guys tomorrow, I do want to let you know. We're going to watch OJ tomorrow. But I want to set up our next mock trial. Decided to do it. I don't know if this will work really well or work horribly. I don't know. But I think it will be in good shape. So tomorrow, we need to do just a couple of things real fast for your mock trial, and then we're going to watch OJ. With that said, have a good day. I will see you guys tomorrow.
All right.
Certainly. Have a good day, guys.